What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Nerdwide podcast, episode 113, 113 episodes of this here Nerdwide podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Haynes, with my good friend and co-host, Mr. Chris Rivers. Now, Chris, I have to know, how's your week been? How have you been? Is anything exciting going on? I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you, and I don't appreciate it.
I've been working overtime. We've had 2 hours of overtime a night, except for Friday, and then we went in and worked 5 hours yesterday on Saturday.
No, thank you. I'm good.
The day before Mother's Day, they call us in for 5 hours of overtime. So I'm like,
they don't have a heart, is what it is.
yeah.
And I don't appreciate it.
They have a heart for money.
Well, yeah. I mean, as one host of this show, one half host of this show, I don't appreciate it. All right. They need to get it together because we got things to do and things to talk about. So I don't appreciate it.
And it's very important.
Yes.
So
let's see. I'm trying to
what
think.
about you?
This week was busy. Both my coworkers, I work in an office of technically 3 of us. Each one of them had 2 days off at various times this week, so I've been real busy. I also worked this weekend, worked today, worked yesterday, and I feel like I can't get anything done. It's one of those where you're busy, then you got a little bit of relaxed time, then you're busy again, and I'm just trying to play Legend of Zelda. Okay, that's all I'm trying to play. And because it came out Friday, it came in, Amazon delivered it, I think like 6 or 7 Friday nights. Of course, I was already exhausted and ready to go to sleep. I've been going into work early all week. It's been nurses and hospital week, so they've been doing various things, although not really anything big, which is what it is for most hospitals now.
So I'm sure you heard about this.
Oh, no.
Because I'm still, of course, subscribed to her on YouTube, so I was getting the notifications about it. But Alana Pierce got banned from Twitch.
I saw that
because of Nintendo.
Yeah,
for watching a preview.
Something she
video.
was able to react to and talk about stuff like that. I think, got rescinded like 46 hours later or something like that because she, disputed it. But Nintendo is very rough on their copyright, so that's why I never want to redo anything because they will blacklist you real fast. Like, I'm not about that life.
What I don't understand is that's free publicity for them. Like,
they are really behind on the times. So like even your big companies that review their games, like this Legend of Zelda, Kind of Funny is a company of 11. Usually they could get 4 to 5 codes for any other game or anything, but they got 1 for Legend of Zelda, and I'm like, it's just they've always been that way. I don't understand why they've been that way, but it still works, I guess. But what do I know? I'm not on that side of the pond anymore. Well, I won't say anymore at all. Quick housekeeping before we jump into the Titans series finale week. Don't forget to subscribe to either our YouTube or podcasting service of your choice. If you enjoy the show, make sure you leave us a thumbs up on YouTube. Or give us a good rating, whatever podcasting app you use. If you don't enjoy what you see or hear, make sure you leave us a comment down below and let us know what's going on, what's wrong, is the audio messed up, you tired of looking at my background? Do I need to clean something up? Just let me know, okay? We can't fix anything if we don't know if it's broken. If you always want to go that extra mile, Patreon.com/Nerdwide. 3 different tiers with 3 different monetary values. Each different tier increases in price for a monthly subscription fee. Each tier has a bunch of different things fun. The first one only gets you the episode early before everybody else gets it. I forget what the second one does, but the granddaddy of them all. You can recommend books, movies, TV show, video game, comic, anything you want us to review, recap, talk about. You can recommend it, and it's also your name gets read out on air. We greatly appreciate it. So, Chris, I know you've been a busy week with overtime and everything, but have you watched anything fun on TV this week?
No.
Oh, well, that's
just what we watch. I mean,
I've been still watching The Crown. I'm about 3.5 episodes from being done with it. It's one of those things I just have on while I'm working, just because I hate being in silence. Like, I hate not having anything going. And then I've also been watching, I think I've seen like 2 or 3 episodes of Smallville. We're going back in on that podcast and trying to catch back up on it. I let it slip for like 6 or 7 weeks. So I'm trying to catch back up on it. I love that show. Man, it's got me wanting to watch all the Superman movies. And just because I don't think I've seen the original 2. Like with Reeves.
They had 4 Reeves Superman.
Because I haven't seen all 4 though. Any of those then. That I can think of.
And they just came out with the new set on 4K.
Well, I might have to partake in that then, because I got to thinking about it the other day. I was driving home. I was like, because they were talking about Christopher Reeves on the podcast. I was like, I don't think I've seen any of his, but I don't remember which ones I've seen, because it was Christopher Reeves, there was Brandon Routh, and was there one before Cavill?
Not on film.
Not on film. Okay, so then I've seen one of those then.
You had Dean Cain on the Superman and.
I'm okay with skipping that one.
Was it also called Superman and Lois?
It was Lois and Superman.
Lois and Superman.
Because they had it reversed.
Yeah.
To try and not have confusion. But other than that, that's all I've been watching on TV. Haven't really watched a lot of things with Jamie. We're still caught up on Ted Lasso. It's just been a real busy week, and haven't really been able to watch as much TV as I would like. And especially with now having Legend of Zelda on Switch, I don't have to be sitting here playing games anymore. So we watch more shows, which has been so busy we haven't had that chance to do that. But hopefully, with the next couple of weeks, we will, because Big Brother's coming back soon, and listen, that's a time commitment, especially with watching all the live cams. I can't wait, Chris. I can't wait, man. Anyways, Superman and Lois, season 3, episode 8. Full-on spoilers if you've never listened to the show before. We talk about Superman and Lois, Gotham Knights, Titans, all of our nerdy recap shows and everything that come out weekly. What's on right now, Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights, and of course Titans with its finale. But
now we've brought back the Douche Canoe and Hero of the Week.
Yes, we cannot forget those. I'm going to actually type that out. I meant to do that earlier, so I wouldn't forget. I keep thinking every episode, so it's going to be fun. I like doing it live on the air. That was a fun little thing to last week. All right, Superman and Lois, Season 3, Episode 8, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Directed by Gregory Smith. He's directed a lot of Arrowverse shows. It's the only thing I see about him. He's also acted some as well. Mm-hmm. NerdsandBeyond.com by Haley has finally got her stuff off. She might have had a break last week, so we didn't really have her. But we're going back to her. And let's see. I want to make sure I am in the right spot. Chrissy wants to run a story about Bruno's secret wife, but Lois isn't having it. She wants to move away from stories about Bruno. This angers Chrissy a bit because of how much time they spent on the case, and Lois acting so nonchalant isn't making it better. Clark tries to diffuse the situation and says he'll talk to Lois. When he does, she stands firm on not wanting to attach her name to the byline, so Clark offers to investigate with Chrissy instead. When he tells Chrissy this, she's not totally convinced, but he also wants the school of Lois, so it shouldn't be a problem. I really liked how it started out. We saw the lifestyle changes we're seeing during with this cancer treatment and all of her chemo and things. They moved the bed downstairs. They cleared out her office so she could have a bed that she doesn't go up and down the stairs. She's clearly weaker this episode and playing, just being slow moving, not her normal energetic self. Right. But again, this is one of those things I like about the show and love about this season, is that it's that moral villain. Like, should she run the story? Because we know about because their whole thing is, if he was able to hide his wife and everything, what else is he hiding from the public? And they're like, let's run the story, let's get this out there. But Lois is like, no, let's respect them. It's a whole moral conundrum. And that's, I think, what makes this season so much better, is because, is he really doing so wrong right now? I mean, obviously, yes. But, would you go to these lengths to save your loved one from cancer and doing all this research? Would you kill a convict who's been killing people to experiment on him to save, millions? I mean, it's one of those gray areas, and that's what makes this show so special, and it's what makes this season so special, is that we're smack dab stuck in the gray area.
I feel like, too, that we got an immediate answer to it within the same episode, right? Because no matter what they're going through, no matter how sympathetic they may seem, they are who they are.
Right.
And, you got to put those people away.
Yeah. Sam is at the Kent residence with a bunch of files about Bruno and Lex. He's happy to see Lois. Have you noticed we're getting a bunch of Lex talkings this each episode progresses more and more. There's a reason for that. He's happy to see Lois back to herself, but gets a notification about a date he has. Lois tells him to go and he can't be late. After combing through the files, Lois finds there's more than she ever knew about Lex and Bruno. She presents them to Clark and Chrissy, who have just come back from interviewing Pia's mom for their story, and they made a dead end on. They listen to the tape of Lex confessing when Clark realizes the buzzing sound in the background, noted that his voice was being mimicked and it was Bruno and the sound assassin the entire time, leading them to believe they put Lex in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Which you'd think Lex Luthor would have a way to combat that, but,
Yeah.
What do we know?
Unless, knowing Lex, he actually wanted to be put away. Like, this helps him, and Bruno doesn't realize that.
I like that. Natalie's set to go out to dinner with Mateo's parents, Pia and Bruno. They all make it to the restaurant, and Bruno asks if she made the trek from Smallville. She knows that she did and asks if he's ever been himself. He can't say that he has, but it's been on his radar lately. Pia has a coughing fit, and Bruno tries to end eating the dinner and take her home, but she wants to stay and be there with all of them. She wants to get to know Natalie better. After that, the dinner is seemingly going well as Pia tells stories about Mateo's upbringing and brings laughs to the table, but when John Henry shows up, it's a different story. Oh, one of my favorite things on here. John is on the job getting some experience at a local fire. When Superboy shows up, which they mentioned him twice as Superboy. I feel like this is our first time calling him that.
Yeah.
Because I don't really remember it, but they made a fact calling that twice. Let's see. He shows up to put out the fire. John sees him fly in and heads to the side of the building where he finds Jordan and a victim of the fire who suffered from extreme smoke inhalation. He flies off before Kyle and his team come around the corner to find John there with the band. Kyle is angry because he told John to stay by the truck and sends him home for the day. John is obviously upset he might lose his job, so he confronts his brother about it. Although Jordan wanted to help, they didn't need it. Jordan spits out a fiery statement telling his brother while he has heat vision, John's training includes delivering coffees. God, it's such a dick move, and it's such a brotherly thing that, it's very much a brotherly thing. Sarah and John are both taken aback by what he said, and John storms out of Kyle's apartment. Later, Jordan apologizes to his brother, but it may be too late. They think someone with powers helped put out the fire, and they may be closer to finding his identity than they're letting on. So, a couple things about this whole story and scene. Kyle tells John to stay by the truck, but when they zoom out from the body, he's right there with the truck. So, I mean, it was you could see the truck right there. So I'm he didn't do anything, but I guess in his eyes, he went in and saved the guy and then came out.
Yeah.
It was a very touching scene right at the beginning of it, though, where they were hazing him a little bit after he brought the coffees. They showed him a shirt. I was like, oh, okay, I like this. Although I'm pretty sure you would have to have parents sign off because he's under 18 to do something dangerous like this, but technically he was supposed to stay by the truck anyways, so.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're working at, say, a fire department, and his goal's to be a first responder, isn't it better to have someone that you've got to reel in a little bit than someone who doesn't want to go into danger?
Well, I think I try and look at it from a parent's perspective as well, because he wasn't trained to do any of that, and they think he was. I think Kyle's thing was he's got a hero complex because he knows what his dad is, and so he went in there anyways to be the hero and bring him out when it endangered him and his team and everything else. So I mean, I kind of look at it from a lot of different lenses and scopes here, but I mean, I think it was a little rash decision making on his point. And now we know that they're on to somebody using powers to stop the fire, which looks messy. When they showed the scene of the ice and everything, I was like, oh, Jordan, let's reel that in a little bit, buddy.
Yeah.
Because that was everywhere.
Yeah. So they got to figure it's not Superman. Right,
because he stays around and they would see him.
Right. So I wonder if John Henry kind of steps up and says, "Oh, it was me.
It was me."
my suit can do these things.
I wonder if Kyle's going to confront John though and think it's him because he is Superman's son. I wonder if he's gonna. I wonder if that's a storyline they'll run with.
Maybe.
But I will.
And maybe John denies it because he doesn't have
Right.
powers, but then maybe his start to manifest, and he's like,
Dude, I just
"Oh,
want him to have powers already.
he's gotta have some ability. He's
Yeah.
half Kryptonian."
He's there's got to be he can't heal fast because we saw him break his hand in the first season, and then we had his whole doppelganger last season, which God, I want to forget about that season. Um, Lana gets a notification about a concert she and Kyle were supposed to go to together for The Cure. She asks Sarah if she wants to go and make it a girls' night, but Sarah doesn't even know the music, so it'd be a waste of a ticket. It's some bad parenting. Lana is clearly a bit upset that Sarah would. Actually, you know what? I don't think Zoe knows who The Cure is either, so never mind. I can't say that. Lana is clearly a bit upset that Sarah would turn down spending time with her mom, but she persists and asks around to a few people. I couldn't swore she was going to ask John Henry to go on
Yeah.
a date because that's how the storyline they've been setting up.
Well, they even have him say, "I've got something to go to tonight."
Yeah.
And I thought she'd ask him off screen.
Right. And they're
But-
just going to meet up at the concert together, but
Yeah.
that wasn't it. She starts with Clark, but he can't go, so she offers to sell them to Chrissy, but she has a conflict as well and won't be able to go with Kyle. Feeling defeated, Lana runs into Sam at the diner. She tells him about her troubles. He tells her it sounds like she needs to get back out there, but Kyle really hurt her, and she's afraid she'll get hurt like that again. After an insightful conversation from Sam, she realizes she can't let that stop her. Jordan talks to Sarah and tells her it's not just about the music. She should spend time with her mom. At the end of the episode, Sarah and Lana are dancing in their living room listening to The Cure.
Can I ask you something real quick?
Go ahead.
Sam,
Mhm.
right? He's got this mystery woman that he's seeing, that he's met on this app.
Yes. This random blonde woman.
Yeah. This isn't just going to be a throwaway thing.
I
right?
hope not.
This
I
has
hope
to
it's
have a
somebody.
payoff.
Yeah.
Maybe it's someone attached to Lex. And
Oh, what's the Mercy? Is Alexa's little hench lady.
yeah,
I mean, it makes sense. Get him in close with the DOD and everything. I don't know. But probably the best thing about this episode, when Bruno finds out that John Henry is Natalie's father, when they come face to face, the whole restaurant's atmosphere changes. Guns are pointed at John Henry, and Bruno instructs his henchmen to get the kids out of there. Pia pleads with Bruno, telling him not to do this, but he punches him multiple times in the face anyway. John Henry is able to call for his suit, and once it makes it to him, Pia defends her husband when her sound sans mask. Oh, without her mask. John Henry is eventually able to get inside of it, but she doesn't stop. They take the fight outside into an alley, and John Henry's dying fast. Clark hears it, and he realizes John Henry, so he dashes off to help save him. Pia puts all her force into holding the both of them off, and eventually overwhelms her. She falls to the ground, fainting. Bruno is beside himself, but Superman checks her vitals and tells them she needs to go to a hospital now or she is going to die. Bruno gives him the go-ahead and take her, and he rushes off. Mateo and Natalie find the aftermath in the alley, but before anything else can happen, John Henry bolts off with Natalie. When they get home, he tells Natalie she can't see him anymore, despite him also not knowing what was going on. He confiscates her phone and leaves her completely distraught. Mateo, meanwhile, is angry. He is seen pushing his dad off of him in a heated exchange before storming off and out of the room. Pia is at the DOD and is currently stable, but Superman notes for her cancer is spreading, and she doesn't have much longer to live. John Henry doesn't care, and even though Lois may have bonded with her at Hobbs Bay, she's still a murderer, and she tried to kill him. This whole thing was awesome, top to bottom.
Yeah.
I don't have anything bad about this thing to say. The whole Romeo and Juliet thing is finally coming to like a climax here with these two families. Having the whole restaurant being his henchmen. It was really, really, really well done, and I did not see that. And I want to go back and kind of rewatch it to see if there's any signs of like maybe everyone's watching them, watching the exits kind of thing. But John Henry comes in and just stands there, and everyone in that establishment stands up. And I was like, oh, this is a lot more trouble than what I thought it was going to be. They get the kids out, and then he just goes to town on him. He said, I told you if I see your face again, I'm going to end you and your family. And it wraps up in one of the little napkins from the restaurant and starts beating them. The coolest part, I think, though, was his suit coming in and disassembling like Iron Man and coming back in together. I was like, come on, guys, you guys are like absolutely wonderful. And even Pia's mouth when she's screaming like kind of gets big, like a snake's mouth, like her jaw hinges a little bit. That was so cool. And Superman, of course, coming to save the day. And gets the whole moral thing. Now Clark knows who the sound assassin is, and it is Pia, which I'm really, really excited to see what Lois says about this. But he immediately scans her and sees the cancer has spread, and you can see it in the X-ray vision he does. But it's like from her jaw all the way down to like to her lungs. I'm like, yeah, she's not that long. But what it did fail to mention here at the end of this was the Bizarro montage. Superman. Yeah, the montage I thought was, at first I was like, I really don't get this. But then like, I was going through multiple things like the dancing. We see Bizarro Superman right there at the end. His eyes open. He's clearly still dead. Like he's a zombie at this point. And there's a whole bunch of cool little montages here while The Cure was playing over it. And this show is continually to be great. I don't know why we're doing a 2-week hiatus. Although if it's only for 2 weeks, because these months that they used to do on the other ones due to COVID, I can't stand. But if it's to like put final touches on CGI and stuff, I'm okay with it because they have been killing it all season, and I don't think there's any fault at all that I've seen so far.
It's a good episode to go into a 2-week hiatus.
Yes, because we've got a lot of questions now. I think we're constantly going up this mountain right now, right to the climax of the season, and we're not quite there yet, but we're almost there. And maybe next episode is it, but because of everything that's been discovered.
One of the shots we got in the montage was Kyle studying a photo from the fire of all that ice. And, again, he knows the secret.
Yeah.
But he knows, like we were talking about earlier, it wasn't Superman. So
it's only, he only knows about Superman 2. He doesn't know about John Henry, which they kind of we saw at the beginning of the season with him putting up all the tech for Lana. But this is I don't know what's going to come out of this. The 2-week trailer for it didn't really show a whole bunch, and that makes me really excited too, because I'm like, I like it when they don't show enough of the plot and story what's going on, because that leaves me wanting more. And I think, we're going to get some good stuff. I don't know how many episodes there are. And don't know if we're getting to season 4. But we'll talk about that after we do our TV recap. But
I just think this episode proved Bruno's irredeemable.
Yes.
He's become what he's become, and there's no going back. I mean, no amount of research he pays for.
Yeah.
Nothing. Because it wasn't just... he made the statement he was going to kill all of John Henry's family.
Yes,
that includes his daughter, who his son cares for. And
do we know? Like, I'm trying to go off of, like, body language, especially in that montage of him being pissed off at Bruno. I can't tell if he knows that Bruno is like the leader of Intergang, and he's this bad, because I couldn't really tell. But he's got to have an idea of some sort because of the way that they reacted at the restaurant.
Yeah, well, not only that, but Bruno's made a point of saying multiple times how people in the press have always accused him of all this stuff.
So he can't be.
He can't be that in the dark.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe he just, I don't know. Like I love these Romeo and Juliet kind of stories. Like, families are at war with each other, but these two kids are, in love and first boyfriend and everything. But I thought the date was going well, first off, by the way, because I thought they were all hitting off great with the parents.
Yeah.
Much better than him going to see John Henry. So
when he first walks into the restaurant, I didn't think it was going to go that way. I thought we were going to get, where there would be obviously tension.
Right.
And he would connect the dots and go, well, this is who my son likes. So I'm going to play it cool right here.
Well, he went to one extreme.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This show, it's just great. All right. That was Superman and Lois. So let's talk about another one. This is Gotham Knights Episode 8, titled Belly of the Beast, directed by Jeffrey Hunt. Kind of same thing. Directed a lot of Arrowverse kind of stuff. Nerdsandbeyond.com. This one is by Mal once again. We open with a camera shot from inside the trunk of a car, peering out at two leather-clad men as they agree on making a deal. Suddenly, both men jerk backwards, pulled off screen by something shot into their backs. I kind of like this shot because they kind of went up and then back. I was like, oh, that was kind of cool. Bodies fly back and forth across the narrow field of view with no sign of the assailants until the men fall quiet. Then Turner and Carey stop forward, looking down into their car, into the trunk. Finally, they get a look at the liberated from the men entire cache of guns, both shotguns, automatic weapons of varying kind, and none of them looking particularly street legal, unless you're in the South. Enough firepower to arm every criminal in Gotham, Turner notes. While Turner and Carey examine the goods, Harper has been busy tying up the criminals, gagging their mouths with duct tape, and leaving helpful messages and Sharpies across the bad guys' foreheads, just so the cops know who to think. Courtesy of GK, guns in trunk, and careful, this one bites. Very, very teenagery thing to do, and I thought that was great. The team nervously wait for Colin to arrive, but as sirens begin to wail in the distance, they decide never to run. Luckily, Colin arrives in the nick of time with their ride, which is a stolen food taco truck. This is the only thing you can find. With each episode, they're finding their rhythm more and more, and I appreciate that. Turns out Cullen was a little late because his watch stopped. One of the insanely expensive Court of Owls watches that the Knights ended up after the near bombing of the Gala gave up the ghost, meaning he was without a timepiece. Back at the Belfry, the Knights discuss whether handing over the painting they stole to the court was a good idea or not, and Duella reinforces that instead of putting criminals behind bars and getting off the streets, they are supposed to be clearing their names. Cullen interrupts with some curious news. It's not just his watch that stopped. Every single watch that has one of the court coins on the back is behaving strangely. They aren't broken, they're spinning deliberately, though the Knights have no clue to what end. Lucky for them, Stephanie is on the case. She soon works out that the watches stop at certain times. Duella expresses some doubts, but Harper quickly jumps in to back up Stephanie, much to Colin's surprise. Again, I think that relationship they're trying to push. The hours, minutes, and seconds of each time correspond to latitude and longitude, giving them location, the old Gotham Light and Power facility. Between some references to clandestine meetings in Bruce Wayne's journals and Duella's deduction that the court probably wants to celebrate completing their stolen art collection, the Knights work out that the court will be having a soiree that night. Eunice did say they'd like to party in strange different places. Stephanie gets a call from the pharmacy letting her know that a prescription is ready, a prescription she knows nothing about. Suspicious, she bails, leaving the Knights to work out the details of their plan. Turner is all gung-ho about infiltrating the Court of Owls meeting. About the Court of Owls meeting, Harper and even Cullen this time are a little bit more cautious. They're unprepared and don't know what they'll be walking into. He gives an inspiring speech, but the Rowe twins remain unconvinced. Duella has Turner's back, though, as she often does. She has an idea, dress up and infiltrate the party. Getting reluctantly on board, resident artist Cullen says that he can use the Gotham Academy 3D printer to rustle them up copies of the court's masks. The problem is that he'll only have time to make 2. Let's see. Turner and Duella are unsurprisingly the Knights that get the short straw. Duella raids the Gotham Academy theater storage for a dress, leaving Turner a bit speechless when she appears in it, dressed to the nines. She asks him to zip her up, which hardly helps the poor guy get his act together. I really enjoyed this scene, and I am okay with Turner and Duella. Now, Chris, I'm going to say that. I don't want to say this once. I think Turner, the actor, was, I don't want to say much better, but was better this episode, acting-wise and convincing-wise. And then there were some certain moments that weren't. And I was like, okay. Yeah. Up until a certain point, I'll tell you when we get there, I was like, okay, this is getting a lot better. And then it didn't. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what I've expected.
There we are.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. I'll let you know when we get there. Duella's dramatic entrance doesn't stun him for long, though, and they quickly discuss the roles in the deception. Turner is used to hanging around privileged asshats, but Duella is quick to reassure him that she isn't concerned. To her, the privileged are just con artists skilled enough to convince everyone else of their worth. And she learned from one of the best con artists in Gotham, her mother, Jane Doe. This is our next description of who this is. Of course, we do know it's not Harley Quinn, but it is someone related to Dent.
Yeah.
So, sister maybe. I mean, I don't know. We'll see when we get there. Because there's obviously some mental issues in this family because of Harvey Dent being Two-Face and having that personality disorder. So there's obviously some mental health issues. The two bond momentarily over being separated from their mothers, albeit in different ways. Turner asks Willow to make him a promise, but she rebuffs his request not to do anything stupid. After all, she already volunteered to go with him. Rebecca helps hobbling Lincoln to the bed in their home. He's looking a lot better since his discharge from Gotham General Hospital, but he's still weak and in recovery, using a cane to get around. Rebecca leaves to get something to support his back, and Lincoln drops his phone down the side of the bed, which at first I was like, that's not very convincing. No one will do that. Then I do that often. Let's just be honest. Unfortunately, his phone isn't all he finds. Between the nightstand and the bed is a cufflink, an expensive black and gold one with a monogram inlaid that reads HD. I was like, come on, man. Like, it was only a matter of time. Lincoln looks furious, obviously immediately making the connection between Rebecca and Harvey, but when she re-enters the room and asks him if he's alright, he tells her that he's fine and thanks her for the pills. Again, he has a mistress, so
yeah.
The only thing he's mad about is that it's Harvey Dent. That's the only thing he's mad about.
Yeah.
As she leaves the room again, he stares after her, a chilling, dark expression on his face. Later, Lincoln decides to go on camera to announce that there's a suspect for his brutal assault, Turner Hayes. It seems that there's nothing that can't be pinned on the Bat Brat in this town. Lincoln, though, is mostly concerned that what he believes to be the real issue is the case. Where is Harvey Dent? Which we find out where he was. Harvey's been busy taking care of Cressida to a very sketchy-looking safe house, and he claims that she'll be safe there while he works on getting a federal order of protection for her. She's scared of what the Court of Owls will do to her and what they're planning. Harvey reminds her that he will help her, but she has to help him. Returning to the office after dealing with his personal matters, Harvey lets the stress get to him and snaps at his secretary when requesting for her to get the judge on the phone. He wants to set up a plea deal. Harvey gets a call from Rebecca asking if he's seen Lincoln's inflammatory video on the news. He confirms that he has, but seems relatively unconcerned, until Rebecca tells him that she believes Lincoln knows about their affair. She thinks it could be a good thing. Maybe it's time for her and Brody to get out. She's scared of Lincoln. Harvey promises to help her. Harvey returns to the safe house where he left Cressida to find her gone. On the bed, there's a tape player with the word "Play Me" written on top it. He presses a button to begin the music, and familiar, eerie music fills the room, and it fades to black. So Cressida even knows about Dent. Stephanie has been notably absent while the rest of the Gotham Knights fine-tune their infiltration plan. After getting the concerning phone call from her mom's pharmacy, she goes to talk to her dad about it. Unfortunately, Arthur Brown's response is anything but positive as he angrily rebukes her for denying her mom's the drugs. Reminds her that, thanks to him being a celebrity, everyone is watching their family closely. Going home and finding her mom drinking, Stephanie tries to reason with her, but it goes downhill fast. Her mom cruelly throws her concern back in her face and refuses to acknowledge her behavior is a problem. When Stephanie grabs the offending prescription bottle, her mom blows up, yelling and chastening Stephanie to the bathroom. Stephanie flushes the pills behind a locked door while her mom screams and tears the house apart. When Stephanie emerges later, her dad has just finished putting her mom to bed. The room is trashed. Instead of being supportive or even concerned over his wife's addiction, Arthur Brown chillingly gaslights Stephanie, blaming her for being the ultimate cause of the mess. I think they're doing a wonderful job portraying addiction and all the multifaceted issues of it.
Right.
Because it's a horrible, horrible thing, and I like that they're doing it. I just don't understand where it comes into the story of this show. And I feel like it's a D or even an E plot. I don't understand. Maybe we're leading to something. But so far, I'm like, I don't understand why this is needed right now.
I think, and I could be wrong, but I think what they're ultimately leading to is, because we know Harper and Cullen's home life wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we already know that their dad had an issue with Cullen's transition, right? So, but the way that they talk about their father, he was also not the greatest person to be around anyway.
Right.
So I think they're using this as a plot device to drive Stephanie and Harper together.
Drive them a little bit closer in together.
They'll bond over this because they're already going that direction.
Yeah.
Right. But then this is just going to be the thing that really ties them together.
Yeah.
You know, like,
so you can help her overcome all the emotional abuse that she's been suffering here. It's
yeah.
a good point. That actually makes a lot of sense. But they are doing addiction really, really well. from the child's perspective, from a spouse's perspective, and obviously from the mom. I thought they've done it justice so far.
Yeah.
In the taco truck that is the new Gotham Knights base of operations, the Knights prepare to send Dwella and Turner into the belly of the beast. Harper has upgraded Carrie's bat goggles, and Cullen has produced eerily realistic Court of Owls mess to help them blend in. Turner and Dwella make it into the party, despite the Owls making some security upgrades to the abandoned building. Seeing a lot of couples, Turner reaches for Dwella's hands just to help with the cover, of course, is what Mal puts here. The soiree is in full swing, complete with a masked hand and a concerning display of ceremonial swords. There is even a masked child playing with a creepy doll just to complete the ambience. I hated it. Hated that. And then there's a point in the scene where we're going to get to here in a little bit where she points, it says, kill them. And I'm like, absolutely not. I do not like this little girl. Don't know who she is, but terrible. Dwella and Turner don't have to wait long for valuable intel. A caped court member, seemingly a leader of some kind, reveals one of the stolen paintings that the court had been amassing. It has been burned away, revealing a map beneath, a map that the leader says will lead them to Electrum, a substance they've been hunting for over decades, which will grant them mastery over death, which is obviously what they used the last of it on the Talon, which is where my guess is. Listening in from the taco truck, Harper researched Electrum while calling questions her apparent change in attitude about Stephanie. Inside, Turner and Dwella decide to steal the map. They pretend that Turner is unwell and slip out where the painting is being held. Two masked goons try to stop them, but they go down quickly when Dwella beats them around their head with one of the tall metal candelabras, the court favorite for decoration. Map obtained, the pair make it back to the party. Once they arrive, the leader makes an announcement. There's a traitor in their midst. After a heart-stopping moment, it becomes clear that the traitor is actually Cressida. She's brought into the room by the Talon and judged by the court for her betrayal. The verdict, a decree of kill her, issued by Gotham's creepiest little girl. Terrifying. No thank you. Yeah. Why? Dwella tries to stop Turner from diving in to save Cressida. She said nothing to deserve their help after all, but Turner knows what Bruce Wayne would have done. With one of the ceremonial swords in hand, he steps up behind the Talon and decapitates him in one swing. This is where I'm still high on the Turner train. He's doing really well this whole episode. In the chaos that follows, Dwella escapes the map, but Turner gets Cressida out. The pair agree to meet the truck. Dwella makes it back with a little help from Carrie, who was ready to cover their escape. And this is where that went downhill for me with Turner. As Turner and Cressida flee, she tells about the truth about his dad's will. He wanted to leave his fortune to the citizens of Gotham to break the cycle of poverty that fuels the crime which the Court of Owls feeds on. Those is something that changed here when he was talking to Cressida. It just wasn't the same acting we had all episode. So I don't know what it was though.
Well, not only that, but it's the trope of stopping to try and find out information instead of getting the hell out of there.
Then get the information. I mean, could not kept running through this forest, but where the forest came from either, I don't know. Before Cressida could give Turner the name of the court's leader, the Talon's blade pierces her chest. At the other end of the sword is the caped leader of the Court of Owls. Turner is quickly captured and hooded. The court have plans for him. Outside the taco truck, the Gotham Knights argue over their course of action. Turner is missing, and Dwella wants to immediately spring into action and go back to rescue him. Carrie points out that they need to regroup, and if the court wanted Turner dead, they would have already killed him. She promises a distressed Dwella that they will find him, which I thought this was really well, but it plays Dwella as well. Her concern over Turner when it's, and when he's actually in danger. She can act all cool, calm, and collected any other time, but when Turner is actually captured, she was not having that.
No, and that's another relationship that's...
I'm excited to see where that goes, because it's a fun one. In the woods, the Court of Owls leader carefully removes the tracker Harper had placed on Turner's jacket and orders him to be taken away. As a lamplit procession of owls escort their captor through the trees, the leader stays behind. He looks up at the full moon overhead, regarding it for a moment before removing his mask to reveal Lincoln March. I think we called that early on, because when he came up with this coin, I was like, I think this is like a plant. I think even you said it was a plant to see what Dent knows about the owls. And sure enough, that's actually what will happen.
That and the fact that the Talon runs him through with his sword, but it doesn't kill him. The Talon doesn't make those mistakes.
No, it's very precise, and those are reasons for that. Finally, we see an abandoned shack in the woods. On the floor amidst the dust and debris is a man in a blood-stained Court of Owls mask and beautifully suit lays on his side. We see him wake up and look around in confusion before pulling out the mask, revealing Harvey Dent. Horrified, Harvey looks around in terror before gazing down at his shaking, bloodied hands. Listen, Every week, I get more and more into the story. And that's not something I thought I would say after watching the first half of this season.
Yep.
But they've got me. They've got me now, and not so much still Turner. I know we say that every week, but everybody else, I'm very interested in their stories. So, especially with them working as a team now and them actually being the Knights.
I'm into the show.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like there's some stuff I could do without that would make it better. Yeah. And a big part of that's Turner.
Just, every week.
I just don't. I just don't understand why they went the route they went with creating this character.
I'm wondering if those licensing issues.
Because even Duella's in the comics.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand. I don't know.
It has to be like a naming licensing issue. Like, they can't use Damian or any other
but they've used
Batman
Bruce.
Title. Yeah, but you could use Bruce, but they never used him as Batman though. And same thing with Titans, they used Bruce, but we never saw a Batman either. So I don't know if it's a licensing thing or
they used the mask and remember he had on the Batman cowl.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's got to be an issue there, and I know at least I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
I'm not. I think they
just wrote a terrible character for that it'd work out.
The question becomes then whose blood was on Harvey's hands.
I don't think he was at the party.
I think it was Mrs. March. I think she's dead.
You think she's dead now?
Uh-huh.
Because she found out she's stepping out, and what poetic justice that he said, okay, you know what, I'm going to use him to kill her.
Yeah. And he's the one she would trust.
Right. That's a good quote. Oh, I like that. All right, Chris, it's time. Let's talk about Titans Season 4, Episode 12, series finale from one of our favorite TV shows, titled Titans Forever. Directed by Nick Kopus. He's done a lot of the Titan shows, all the episodes. Don't want to talk about it now. We're going to High on Films by Madhav Malhotra again. Not my favorite episode. I don't know really what I was wanting.
Something different from
Something different. I just didn't... It was a good episode. I was just expecting great. And with how well and how great they did the Gar episode, with in the red and everything, I was like, okay, they gave us this. They have to give us something for the ending of this. I was expecting a lot of people from the past to come back. Not so much Tim Drake and Red Hood, but because we did give him a little bit of an episode last week. But I was expecting Dove to come back, Donna Troy to come back. I was expecting more. And maybe I should have tempered my expectations a little bit, but I didn't. I feel like it would have been a lot better. I feel like the star of this whole episode to me was Sebastian, because he, or Joseph Morgan, absolutely killed every single scene he was in. And I might be a little biased because I love that actor anyways. But CGI was good. Wrapped up everybody's stories at the end.
It felt like the Titans weren't even the focus.
Yes.
It was just like, they happen to need to be here to try and prevent him from doing what he's doing. Yeah. But they weren't. You didn't really get that big team-up moment. I know that's what the final battle there was supposed to be,
right.
But the way it played out, they were all kind of individually doing other things. Mm-hmm. It just...
And a lot of that ending fighting scene was a little cheesy and a little weird. There was one thing in particular, when Starfire got tangled up and they clasped her wrists and everything. That whole scene was terrible. Like that was very, very rough. And I don't know if they said, okay, we're going to have to stop doing on this, but we're going to do something else. It was just not good at all. let's get into it. And we'll talk about it as we go. Picking up right where the last episode ended, the Titans are trying to reach Sebastian Brother Blood inside the Temple of Azarath, but Candace says the only door leading inside is sealed shut with the password changed. Inside, Trigon appears from a fiery pit in his demon form, stating he is not happy with Brother Blood since he was previously full of doubt, hesitated, and fearful. Still, he forgives him for prevailing all that and summoning him. He says they will rule together. Outside the temple, Rachel uses her magic to create a projection of herself inside the temple to talk to Brother Blood, warning him not to trust Trigon as he promises Brother Blood that they'll rule as equals. However, in an unexpected turn of events, Brother Blood turns on his father and kills him, literally ripping his heart out and drinking the blood, as Rachel notices a seemingly dead Connor and the rebel. Brother Blood offers Rachel, his only remaining family, a chance to rule alongside him, but she instantly refuses, and Brother Blood leaves. Rachel cuts off the projection and conveys what happened to the other Titans, and they take Connor to the RV, to having no plan to defeat Brother Blood. Hi, Stevie. Dick injects Connor with red kryptonite created to stabilize Superman in case he is badly injured, but it does nothing. It is also revealed that Corey is ready to sacrifice herself, but the others aren't ready to accept this just yet. And listen, I'm really tired of that. That trope and these kinds of shows, nonetheless this one either, because she was talked about it and Nightwing was like, that's not gonna happen, but now we got the whole team doing it. I'm just like, come on, like, yeah, let's do a different trope than, hey, I'm gonna sacrifice myself to save everybody. There's always another approach to do this, but you know,
don't talk about it, be about
it. Right. Don't lead us up to it. We all know it's going to happen, and it's not going to work. It happens every single TV show, no matter what show it is. It's been done, done.
Except for this one.
Yes. I'm trying to think. So I know he's half Kryptonian, but Connor was dead a long time, with no blood or oxygen getting to his brain and other organs. I'm like, I don't care what happens. There's no way he's coming back from that. But of course he does in a semi-hype way. Let's see. Dick in particular is opposed, as he's been for a while, strongly insisting that they're stronger together, as he and Corey reminisce on past events like their first meeting when Corey stole his car. They could have done this like last episode with some of these things, like with remembering the past. Like, give us a little bit more lead up. We didn't really need that screen time for this. Although some of them, we'll get there, but like when they do a couple of the flashback scenes was really well done. The Christmas scene in particular, I thought was great. But like, I don't know. It felt forced. Like, hey, remember that, this is the last episode. Hey, do you remember that time when we first met? And I was like, okay. And they did the same thing with Raven too. Hey, remember that first time that, I'm glad you didn't kill me. I was like, all right, we're a little on the nose here.
One thing that, tying into your comment earlier about you wanted to see Dove, you wanted to see Dinah Troy.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Dick, and look, the point is, he's not trying to talk Starfire out of sacrificing herself, just out of the goodness of his heart.
Right.
He cares about her.
Yeah.
Right. He wants to be with her. I'm on the phone to Dove. I'm on the phone to Donna Troy. I'm like, hey, get here.
Especially Donna Troy, who is a demigod.
All hands on deck. Right.
They're summoning Trigon from a different dimension. We need you here. Like, as soon as he goes off with the horn and everything, forget Connor trying to take care of things. I would already be making these phone calls. And you could have even had them at the end where they're having dinner, them show up like, hey, sorry we're late, we couldn't get here in time. Because, they're in Europe. So I give that the benefit of the doubt. But at least to have that conversation of, we tried calling them in, but they couldn't get here in time. But maybe that was acting conflicts. I don't know.
But even then, doesn't Dick have access to Wayne Enterprises and like the private jets?
Yeah. I mean, she could probably even use the Wonder Woman's invisible jet or any of it, but here we are. Using the satellite tracking of the RV, they place Brother Blood at a secret government warehouse that contains chemical weapons, and the Titans head there only to find the place empty. Suspecting Brother Blood is deeper inside, they also reunite with Tim as Robin, and everyone expresses their approval of his donning the new costume. Dick believes that the third time's a charm, referring to him as the first Robin and Jason Todd's the second, ultimately not working out. Just then, Brother Blood shows up. They all find out, but it quickly becomes apparent that it's just an illusion and he was never at the warehouse in question. All of this was just a distraction as Brother Blood has gone to his real target, which is Star Labs, where the Titans were occupied. Brother Blood kills everyone present at Star Labs but Bernard, freshly awakened from his coma, luckily escapes and quickly informs the Titans of the situation. He also informs them that Brother Blood is looking for the Icarus Lab, which very few people knew about, and only Dick knew what it was amongst the Titans. After getting the go-ahead from Dick, Bernard reveals to the team that the Icarus Lab is a fully functioning wormhole that can send any object to any point in space. It doesn't work, though, as there simply is not enough energy on Earth to power it. With Bernard's help in hacking, the Titans navigate Star Labs and find the Icarus Lab, but Brother Blood uses his magic to cause Corey to split from the rest of them and come directly to him. This is due to Corey as a Tamaranian being the only one on the planet to power the gate and helping him realize his plans. He also has an anti-metahuman squad guard the entrance of the gate, who are defeated by the rest of the Titans after a fight. I didn't like that. Like, there's these random 6-7 guys with guns. I guess they just wanted to do it for like an extra little fight scene to everybody, which some of it was cool and well done. But I'm like, not really needed. It makes no sense.
He knows that they're not going to slow the Titans down.
Right, and it was weird. Corey regains control in front of a big blue ball of light, which she recognizes as being the same as her dreams and her visions. Brother Blood reveals he intends to use the lab to collide Earth with the home planet of Tamaran, thus destroying both planets. The same was also Trigon's goal, as he was afraid of what a united Earth and Tamaran could do. Corey naturally refuses to help, but Brother Blood says he'll survive, owing to his perceived godhood, and hooks Corey up to a machine and drains her energy. That was the scene I was talking about, her with these wires and stuff. It just did not look good to me at all. I don't know. It was weird. As the Titans enter the lab, Bernard tells them to disconnect 4 large black cables, which are the navigation or guidance system, and disrupting them will stop the collision of planets. Guard tries to do just that, as Rachel tries to free Corey from the machine, and Nightwing and Robin hold off Brother Blood. Just when it seems that Nightwing is about to be overwhelmed by Brother Blood, a resurrected Connor appears and defeats him. Robin and Beast Boy, meanwhile, have disconnected the 4 cables Bernard told them to, and Rachel has freed Corey from the restraints. However, Dick and Corey are soon at odds about what to do next, with the former wanting to banish Brother Blood to the farthest corner of space using the gate, while Corey wants to kill him, sacrificing herself in the process, as was prophesized. It's one of those tropes, too, that, hey, this guy's not defeated yet. Let's argue about what to do. And then, of course, he wakes up. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Starfire grabs Brother Blood as he wakes up and flies through the roof with him using her powers, going high into the sky and exploding in a vast ball of blue light as the Titans look on horrified. Corey's apparent demise saddens all of them, and there's a brief flashback to the Titans celebrating Christmas together when Corey was alive. Now, the only thing I would have done differently is this Christmas scene. I would have peppered it in throughout the whole thing, not just one big 2-minute section. I would have peppered it into that ending part being, the whole message is said at the end. But I just wish, like, you know how shows do it. Like, they'll do like a couple seconds of it and then all the way at the end. Returning to the present, all of them are deeply saddened by Corey's ultimate sacrifice, only to cheer up once again when a still alive Corey returns to them unharmed. No explanation is given as how she survived, as she herself is unsure. She and Dick kiss finally in an emotional reunion, and also hugs the rest of the Titans. Another thing I didn't like. So Dick is still staring up at this, which is a huge phenomenon in the sky, by the way. The rest of the Titans just kind of leave, and
you can see them in the background.
You see them standing at the door in the background. And she flies down in very bright orange light, and you still see them not paying attention. And I'm like, that's in everyone's peripheral views. At least someone's staring on, still looking. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, you could still have the moment between Dick and Corey being all sweet and romantic when she first flies down and have everyone stay back, because obviously he's the one who's most upset. But why have them go all the way back to the entrance of Star Labs just to slowly come all the way back up? I did not like that. And there's a lot of those moments in this episode. I just didn't understand that.
It almost looked like they went back there believing they weren't going to be in the shot.
Right.
And they were still in the shot, and they just didn't remove it from the episode.
That was one of the big ones. I was like, why are we doing this? What was the direction here?
The other thing I didn't like about this is he's just assuming that it's Corey.
Right.
I mean, Brother Blood was powerful. How do we know he didn't survive? Take on
Right.
her.
Ate her
Her
heart, took
look.
on her power and everything. I guess it
Yeah.
was the kiss. I mean, I don't know. I can't make up them kisses. Some time passes, and the Titans celebrate their saving the world with a dinner at a fancy hotel that Dick had reserved early in the episode. Before they start eating, though, Gar announces that he's leaving the team to further explore the Red, as it has presented him with several questions, but he promises to return should the team need him. Continuing in the same vein, Rachel reveals she's applied to Bloodhaven University, just outside Gotham City, to be surrounded by normal people her age. Tim then discloses that he will continue his role as Robin, which would naturally mean spending time in Gotham, but will split his time between that and being in Metropolis to be with Bernard. Lastly, Connor reveals that Superman has asked him to finally spend time with him and he'll teach him how to fly. As they start eating, Connor separates briefly and is talked to by Dick, revealing to Dick that he didn't like it, what all he had done and who he had become, strongly disapproving of his own choices. Dick, though, encourages him by saying that as long as he asks himself whether what he did was right or wrong, and continues to act towards saving people's lives rather than his own gain, he will be on the right side of it all. Dick and Cora begin their life together as Connor grows his hair back and learns to fly, with which both the episode and the series come to an end. This was fine. Like, I understand, because you can't write them off. I think this leaves everybody open to come back at some point, whether it being in Doom Patrol or some old multiverse, Infinite Crisis kind of thing. But I was really hoping we would see a Superman. I was kind of excited that it was going to be Henry Cavill at first when they said, Superman was coming to do it, and then like it shows his boots. I was like, okay, we're going to zoom up and show them learning to fly, but no, it zooms in on Connor. I was like, okay, but which is fine. I was really excited though. I was, like I said before we start talking about this episode, I was just like, hoping for more. My expectations were really high. Overall, a great show. I'm going to miss it dearly. I mean, I'm going to try and get this on physical media, all 4 seasons. I do think, though, last season was my favorite with Red Hood and Joker and everything. I think that was my favorite season out of the whole show. But this one was great. CGI was wonderful on a lot of the season. Hate that it's gone, but all good things must come to an end. I'm glad they could end on their own terms, although a lot of it did seem kind of forced. But
yeah, it seemed like they got word before filming was finished, and that they just, all right, well, let's hurry up and work it in this way.
Yeah, let's wrap this up, and here's what it is. When Dick initially called that reservation for 6, I was like, oh, he's gonna go meet somebody. He's gonna go meet like a Titan, another Titan or hero or something. But no, it's just for dinner reservation for that Friday night. Okay.
Yeah, we know that we're gonna overcome and destroy one of the most popular evil entities that we've ever faced.
Yeah,
in time for dinner.
Didn't feel like it was needed. Just you could have thrown that out and saved a couple seconds and done something different, but they had made a point to make him make that reservation when they could have just went to any restaurant, but like a Chili's or something. But overall, that's the end of Titans, and we won't be reviewing that anymore, which is unfortunate. Which means this little logo above my head will go away, and move on to Doom Patrol. But like you said before, I'm right there with you. I do think Gar is going to appear in Doom Patrol at some capacity. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we get a full Titans ending somehow. But
maybe.
I think we will see. But Chris, it is time for our Hero of the Week. Out of all 3 of these episodes, let's discuss who your pick is and who you want to be the hero. Let's start with Superman and Lois. Trying to think. Could be argued Superman, as always.
Yeah. I think you could make a case for Sam. He's getting Lana back on track. He got Lois back on track.
So we've got Superman, you got Sam. I'm trying if there's anything else that hero-esque in this one. No, not for this one. Gotham Knights, you could think of Turner for decapitating and essentially killing. Well, I hope there's no way Talon could come back from having his head decapitated, right? Being crushed and everything is one thing, but having your head cut off,
I don't know.
Yeah, to suspend your disbelief, I guess, on that one. Duella, you could say for her, the fighting scene at the end.
Yeah.
Try to think.
You could go Stephanie if you want to look at the battle she's fighting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good one. With her parents.
Her
parents. Okay, I like those. Titans. Corey sacrificing herself. You could do the Titans as a whole for the last time. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else really. Connor coming back in.
Well, yeah.
The waiter bringing the breadsticks at the end during the dinner scene.
I'd have to say my pick would probably go to Corey.
Let's do Corey. It's the last one, and
because she
out of
no
all the
idea
shows,
she would survive.
Yeah, and she was doing it to protect both the planets, and yeah, all right.
And Dick
Grayson. So Coriander, for the first and last time, is our hero of the week.
Yes.
All right.
Unless she appears on Doom Patrol.
Unless she appears on Doom Patrol, then we're for sure going to give it to her then. Douche Canoe, Superman and Lois. Bruno.
Bruno easily.
Easy on that one. No argument there.
I think you could also lump Pia in too, though, because even though she clearly didn't want him to do what he was doing,
yeah,
her instincts kicked in when she started using her sound.
Because they heard the beeping and said, "Oh, the suit's on its way." And she immediately went sound assassin vibes. Okay, and then I would say Kyle, but I really don't feel like that's douche canoe material on that one. No. Gotham Knights. You could argue Lincoln.
Yeah.
You could argue the dad.
Yeah.
Stephanie's dad. And then Titans. I don't think we really have a douche canoe on Titans. I mean, Brother Blood, but he really didn't do anything douchey. He took out Triton, so.
Right.
Woo. Well, he killed a lot of people. He did kill all of Star Labs.
Yeah, but they were all extras.
Yeah, they were all extras. No one knew. I am between Bruno and Lincoln right now. That's where my head's at.
Yeah. I mean, Lincoln, I feel like we don't know yet what would put Lincoln over the top for me.
Right.
What has he done to Harvey? What has he had Harvey do?
Mm-hmm.
Harvey doesn't remember.
There's a lot of psychological trauma going on there, though, with Lincoln and Harvey.
If Lincoln had Harvey kill his wife, then yeah.
Yeah, that'll be I think that'll be a next week's episode. Douche canoe.
Otherwise, I'm probably leaning Bruno.
Okay.
Myself.
I'm down with Bruno. I needed to start. So what I'm gonna do after this episode on our docket here, I will start keeping our tally counts to see as we go through our seasons of shows. That'd be kind of fun to see. Cause, if Bruno's constantly being the douche canoe, that'd be kind of fun to look at. I'm gonna do that. All right, so there's your heroes and douche canoe of the week. And let us know who your douche canoe is down below. Let us know who your hero is down below. Because potentially for the last time, Coriander's our hero. And douche canoe is Bruno. I don't think that's going to be for the last time, though. All right, notable news. The only thing I put in here is Winchester's canceled after season 1 and Kung Fu on CW canceled after season 3. I've got an article from Variety because we have not heard anything from Superman and Lois or Gotham Knights about being canceled or anything yet. But the article says, this marks the latest cancellations of the CW, with the network previously canceling Walker Independence, which is a Walker spinoff show. Meanwhile, the Walker proper has been renewed for its next season, as has the high school football drama All-American. The show's All American Homecoming, Superman and Lois, and Gotham Knights are still awaiting word on their fates, though this article says none of them are expected to continue at this time. I don't know. Because they say since acquiring a majority stake in the CW last year, parent company Nexstar has largely moved away from the network's previous scripted series strategy and is instead focused on low-cost unscripted fare, foreign acquisitions, and live sports like Live Golf. So, we texted and talked about this a little bit throughout the week. If Superman and Lois gets canceled on CW, it's for sure going to Max, right? Like, I don't see there being a world where that does not go to Max.
I think it makes sense to put it there. Yeah.
As long if they could keep the same people, I think that's where it goes, honestly.
And I think they would try Gotham Knights.
Try and keep it going.
If you move it to Max, you can make it darker.
Yeah. You can use all your same assets from Titans and Doom Patrol to...
Here's what I would do. I'm sorry to the actor that plays Turner.
Kill him off, bring Damian in.
No, I would... Well, you could kill him off if you want. Right? And then I would... And I'm... the actor that plays Dick on Titans.
Brandon Thwaites.
Yeah. Bring him in and have him...
Lead the Knights.
Lead the Knights.
Oh, Chris, don't play with me like that. That would be a phenomenal decision. I don't think they'll do it, but that would be a phenomenal decision. And
just have it on Max.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
You could even bring another member back if you wanted to, because you're going to see Tim Drake. Right?
And he's an original Gotham Knight as well.
Yeah.
So that could easily work. We are taking a 1 week hiatus for this show because all of our shows are when Titans is done, and we're taking a 2 week hiatus for Superman and Lois. But we will be back for that. No releases, no TV releases for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's the summer. We're starting to reach our summer programming, and our shows are taking a hit, but we've got some things in discussion I think you all are going to like, so make sure you're still sticking around and sticking to our socials because we are going to discuss those there. But other than that, TV shows, that's it.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Titans.
R.I.P. Titans. For now. Who knows? That brings us to movies. And Tyler, have you watched anything movie-wise?
No, nothing movie-wise this week. I was trying to think if I did. But no, it's all Smallville and The Crown.
Yeah, I only had time to watch the movie that we watched for the show because overtime.
Mm-hmm. They gotta make their money.
It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So first off, let's go ahead and get to this if you wanna.
I'm down.
Guardians Volume 3 spoilers.
Spoilers, baby. All right. Now that's out of the way. Skip ahead. Do what you gotta do. Spoilers. How do you think Star-Lord's coming back? A lot of people theorized. I think me and you have talked about this as well. It's been a long week. That because they're bringing the X-Men in. A lot of people think they are keeping him around until Kitty Pryde comes in.
Yeah.
That would make sense, honestly, because it's all on Earth and they have a relationship now that Gamora's gone.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious because we know what the film slate looks like going forward.
Yeah, at least until 2025.
And so I'm really curious how they're even going to bring the X-Men in. Are we going to get Professor X founding the Academy and, go back to the beginning and bring it forward? Or are we going to jump in with everyone already there? Do they basically remake the first Fox X-Men movie where Wolverine's brought into the group and that's where it kind of starts? I don't know. Or do we see Star-Lord pop up on something where the Kitty Pryde character's introduced? It's
Yeah.
kind of it's all up in the air right now. I do think we'll get him back before that. I think he voices his character in What If season 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
I could also see, because we know we have the X-Men animated.
The 97 animated
Yeah,
film of the show. I
so
forgot
he
all
could
about
come
that.
back in that sense.
Mm. All right, so this movie, I said before we started recording, I don't think my score has changed on it. I still love it. I still want to go see it again. I'm trying to think, spoiler wise, what I wanted to talk about. Oh, the ending fight scene. Um, right at the end where they all teamed up. That was one of the best fight scenes. The hallway scene was great, and they made it look like a oneer, which reality it was not because of all the CGI. But the fight
Hmm.
scene at the end, where it's the High Evolutionary starting to fight Rocket, and then it's maybe 10 seconds long, that whole fight, but everybody gets a piece of the High Evolutionary. I thought that was one of the best scenes that the MCU has ever done, with James Gunn as well. I thought that was really, really great. Music was wonderful. I'm trying to think, like, what spoilers filled stuff I want to talk about. As far as pushing the MCU forward, this is kind of on its own. Oh, the post credit scene of the new Guardians.
Yeah,
So we've got
yeah,
Sean Gunn's character, Kraglin. You've got Tank Brute, whatever you want to call that guy.
yeah.
You've got Rocket as the captain now, and who? My
Viley,
Vixley.
Viley.
It's spelled like
I think it's
VXLA or something.
no, I think it's
Oh,
PHYL, isn't it?
let me see. My brother sent me the actual spelling.
But she's
Phyla P
Phyla.
PHYLA dash VELL.
She's a Marvel.
Yes, because she's got a band on her wrist. So, or bangle. I think we see them sooner rather than later. Do we see her in Marvels?
I would expect she'll be there.
Could you imagine the new Guardian showing up in the Marvels though? I know. I don't know
I mean, it
how.
makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know how soon it would happen though, because we just got this movie and we haven't seen people cross over in years now, and this is like kind of really soon. So I'm curious to see, but I think they
You
would.
know, you know what would be interesting is because we know that at least a good chunk of the Marvels is going to take place on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So what if they track down Star Lord because
Mm,
they need a way to get in touch with Rocket
right.
and the Guardians, or if they don't know yet that Star Lord's no longer with the Guardians,
Mm.
so they
Oh,
find him.
do you think this Phyla Vel though is like not in the trailer, obviously, but what if she's also switching places? And Kamala switches places and ends up with the Guardians, and then they have to track down Star Lord to get in contact with the Guardians or something like that because they found out, oh, she's
If
another
they
human.
or Phyla-Vel's the key to them not switching places all the
Mm,
time. So they need to find her
right.
so that they can.
Because now we know there's a third Bengal out there. And we still
Yeah,
never figured out at the end of Shang-Chi what was the rings were being a beacon for something. We still never figured out what that was.
no, they still
Just
haven't.
completely out of random thought. But because originally people thought it was the Bengals, but obviously it's not the Bengals. I don't know what's going on.
They'll tell us in 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, well, just have to keep that in your brain. Hopefully, it
Um,
passes away before we get those answers, but you never know.
that was one of speaking of passing away. That was one of the big things about Volume 3. We
Yeah,
all thought somebody was gonna die.
nobody.
Nobody.
Although Chris Pratt's acting when he thought that Rocket died, well, I guess technically Rocket did die for
Oh
a
yeah.
little bit, but his acting right there, they even showed it in some of the trailers, phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
that was really, really, really well done. I felt like everyone's relationship was great. We kind of same thing like with the Titans. They kind of tied everything up, although better than I feel like that the Titans did.
Yeah.
And we're all going our separate ways, but everyone is still alive. I do not see Dave Bautista coming back.
No.
Everybody else, though, I do. Oh, that was another one of the things I wanted to mention. The Groot thing at the end. where they went the whole movie with Gamora not understanding Groot at all, and then you found out like she understood him because she was a part of the family, is when she finally understood him.
We all understood him.
And then right there at the end, he said, "I really love you. I love you guys," in classic Vin Diesel. But now I turned to Jamie and I said, "Oh God, that was great. That was very well done and very perfect."
Yeah.
And that was, of course, he went to Twitter. Someone asked that, which I don't know why you would ask that. It's obviously implied. They said it was us hearing Groot as an audience being part of the family, and James just said, "Absolutely." And I was like, I mean, great, but I don't think that needs to be explained.
No, not at all. One thing we did get in this movie that I didn't really think that we would. Michael Rooker back as Yondu.
Yes.
Very briefly.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a spirit guide, I guess you could say.
Because repeating what he said in the second movie, or at the end of the second movie, it's all in your heart. And that was a cool scene of him finally getting the whistle down, because it's not about your whistling; it's about what comes from your heart. I was like, oh, that was real cool.
Yeah.
So,
I kind of wish, because Sean Gunn is the motion capture.
Yep.
For Rocket.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish we would have gotten a bit of time like the two of them side by side. You know?
Yeah.
Just kind of as a little nod that, this is the guy that's responsible for that. So.
Oh, what about the end title of, like, it was actually a picture of all of them lined up on the wall as a cast for the last time. I thought that was really cool too. It was the first time we've had one of those. And then I know you mentioned it last week too, of in the post credits, like those pictures and clips from all the movies that they were all in, put together. Very well done. And I really want to watch this movie again. I cannot wait until it comes out on Steelbook, because I am watching this movie so many times.
And I think we touched on this last week. One of the things that was kind of a downer, the High Evolutionary.
Yeah.
Is the big bad of the film, and it's just like I wanted something more.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked for Kang to have shown up here, which we haven't even discussed, by the way.
Oh, the drama and everything
against.
Well, he's
Jonathan Majors.
They're already, I think it's not been convicted yet, but they're talking about a year and a half of prison time. And so, like, as Marvel, what do you do about that?
I mean, I think you turn to the guy that's been there before when you needed a replacement. You get Don Cheadle to take on that role.
Cheadle to take on that role.
Or maybe Terrence Howard comes back.
Redeems himself.
No, I don't know. I mean, that's because I would have liked to have seen Kang make some kind of an appearance, even if it was in a post-credit scene to show that he was behind the High Evolutionary, that he was sort of pulling the strings.
I wonder if or maybe it was something already filmed, but in light of all the news, they said, all right, let's throw another post-credit scene, because Guardians 2 had like 4 or 5 post-credit scenes. And maybe that was like an extra one that they had in there, but they didn't throw in because of everything going on.
Or they filmed the Star-Lord post-credit scene just to take its place, because there wasn't really anything to that.
No, just the 2 actors just sitting there. So that's a good point too. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm right there with you. I liked Chudwick, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Yeah. But I liked him as an actor. Obviously, we had him in Peacemaker. Very well done in it. But as a big bad, it kind of fell flat. But it was more so Rocket's villain, not so much the Guardians villain. Yeah. Which I'm okay with, because the second movie was was Chris Pratt's villain, or Star-Lord's villain. The first one was everybody. It was the Guardians. So, I mean, I kind of like this storytelling. Gamora had hers with her dad being killed. Same thing with Nebula. Drax was Ronan's from the first film, and Groot didn't. He's a tree. I am Groot, but so he didn't really have a villain.
We did get to meet, I guess you could call her Rocket's first love interest.
So
Lila.
Lila. So fun story about that. If you go back to the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, and when they're being scanned into prison, it's got their names and like aliases and all that kind of stuff, like in the bottom left corner. It says Rocket Raccoon, also known as 893P313, whatever his thing was. So from the first movie, it's in the first movie. But then it says associates, it says Groot, and then comma Lila. And then it goes down names and things like that. I was like, that is like, they set this up before we even knew anything. I was like, that's just, man, I've got full faith in James Gunn for the DCU, like, period. Like, that was almost a decade ago. He had that planned and ready to go. And so I think we're fine. But Lilo, very well done. The death scene at the end was very well done. Trying to think. But that was cool. She said it's not your time or something like that. And he wanted to go with her. And she shoves him back and flew all the way down to his body. But that's our second evidence of life after death in the MCU. First, we've got Valhalla. And now we have whatever animal heaven that is.
Pet Cemetery.
Pet Cemetery. Which we need to add it to the Halloween thing. I've never seen the movie.
The original? You haven't seen it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah. We definitely need to add it.
Yeah.
Make a note. Put a pin in it. But we got character growth in this too, which I was glad to see. We get Drax. You know, they find out that he does know something. He actually speaks the same language as those children.
Right.
And basically he's just presumed to be a big dumb oaf.
Yeah, like it's
most people.
A lot of the jokes fit. I feel like it got a little too excessive between him and Mantis at times.
Yeah,
but I feel like a lot of those jokes did hit though.
We got the growth by Gamora. It's like she starts to understand why her variant felt things for Star-Lord, but they don't act on them.
Yeah.
So she kind of just goes back to the Ravagers and
found her family at the end and her own version of the family. And that was one of the things we talked about last week off the air, that it's her variant, but she found the same thing she was looking for, but she found it with the Ravagers instead of the Guardians. Which I thought was a kind of neat little way to do that, because you could see how happy she was to be with the Ravagers, and that's who she thought her new family was, which was cool. So, and they didn't force the love story between Star-Lord and him. Although I did think we were going to get a Nebula and Star-Lord relationship for a second there. But
I'm just saying, he picked a very pretty set of eyes.
We did have James Gunn's wife in here.
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion was in here as well, which are in both of those are in all of his films. Same thing with Rooker and Sean Gunn, which people were like, oh, his films are starting to feel like Adam Sandler films. And I'm like, I'm not mad at it. I mean, it's like one of those fun things. Okay, where are they kind of scenarios.
And Rooker just guest starred in a couple of episodes of Fillion's ABC TV show. So they all like working together.
Yeah, they're all good friends.
So it's, and Rooker's a cool guy. I've got a chance to meet him about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. All the man, we gotta get some cons down here. I told Jamie, I said, speaking of that, whenever they have any type of Smallville, like whenever Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling are anywhere near us, like Louisville, Atlanta, I'm going down there. And because they have like Smallville nights is what they do. It's kind of like how they did with the Stephen Amell's thing that he did, the Wine at Night or whatever it was. It's kind of the same thing. They just kind of drink and hang out and just be part of the crowd. I'm like, I want to be a part of that. So
that'd be cool.
That's on the plans. All right, Guardians 3.
All in all,
there it is.
I did find just a very quick news nugget about Guardians. Their second weekend box office is estimated at $60.5 million. It's down 49% from the opening weekend. Total but it's the best second weekend holdover for any of Marvel's Guardians movies,
Good.
and it's the best hold for any MCU since the COVID-19 pandemic began.
Damn. So
So,
best in 4 years though.
yeah, and that came from Jamie Lovett at comicbook.com.
That's good though. I mean, we're starting to get back to normal, and it's when you have that big of a drop off too. Because I mean, it's almost half. But you got to think a lot of these people went opening weekend, so
Yeah,
and aren't going to go back for it. So
yeah, that would be the big tell is how many of those are return
yeah.
viewers. All right, our movie of the week, and I've been wanting to see this.
Ever since I feel like we've seen a trailer for it, me and you have both talked about wanting to see it.
I just didn't want to go to the movies to see it.
No.
I feels like I've slipped into that place I feel like a lot of people have been at for a while, which is I want to go to the movies to see something spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to be something less than that, I'll just wait for it and watch it at home.
Yeah. I feel like this is one
that,
of those perfect movies for that.
Yeah, and the movie, of course, is Air, directed by Ben Affleck. Stars himself as Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, Matt Damon, Jason Bateman, Marlon Wayans, Chris Tucker, Viola Davis. Who am I forgetting? Anybody? Chris Messina was in this. And it's all about Nike's successful attempt,
Mm-hmm.
to sign Michael Jordan to a shoe contract. And here is it's somewhat pretty brief plot here. I think it's like 6 paragraphs, so not too in-depth. Fairly easy story to follow. In 1984, Oregon-based Nike Inc. is on the verge of shutting their basketball shoe division due to low sales. In response to this, marketing VP Rob Strasser, along with co-founder and CEO Phil Knight, tasked Nike's basketball talent scout Sonny Vaccaro to come up with a new spokesperson for Nike basketball shoes. While considering the basketball players chosen in the 1984 NBA draft, Nike's executives think third pick Michael Jordan is off limits, but being both a fan of Adidas and too expensive for the basketball division's meager budget. But once he watches Jordan's highlights in conjunction with an Arthur Ashe commercial for his head rackets, Vaccaro becomes convinced Nike should pursue who he considers a generational talent, with both brand and athlete building off each other. Following dinner with his friend George Raveling, who coached Jordan in the Olympic tournament, and asking for his support in courting the star, Vaccaro travels to Wilmington, North Carolina, where he convinces Michael's mother, Dolores, that Nike would give Jordan all the attention he would not get from his preferred brands Adidas and Converse. After receiving a negative phone call from Jordan's agent David Falk regarding contacting his client's family, Vaccaro learns the Jordans have scheduled a meeting at Nike's Beaverton, Oregon headquarters the following Monday. Vaccaro and Strasser start preparing their pitch while requesting shoe designer Peter Moore to prepare a prototype, which Moore names Air Jordan, after Nike's Air Sole technology. In the meantime, Knight accepts to assign the basketball division's entire $250,000 budget to hire Jordan. After the meeting with Jordan and his parents is successful, Vaccaro learns Adidas matched the offer while adding Mercedes-Benz 380 SL, and he thinks the deal will not go through. However, Vaccaro receives a call from Dolores, who states Michael will sign with Nike on the condition he earns a percentage of every Air Jordan sold. Even though Vaccaro thinks the company's higher-ups would not accept the bonus, Knight's told he deems it necessary to ensure the endorsement. An epilogue reveals Air Jordan exceeded Knight's expectations of $3 million in sales, earning $162 million in 1 year and becoming a steady source of income for Jordan. Yeah, he makes, I think it's estimated that he makes 40 million a year? Is that what it said?
I think so.
Or,
yeah, it's because he makes just passive income from that.
Yeah, it's just his name's on the shoe, so.
Yeah. Very, very smart business deal there.
Yeah.
From the mom.
Yeah.
He buys a lot of Mercedes from that. So.
Yeah. It's so funny, too, looking at some of the older cars, especially that Mercedes. It's like, it just doesn't look good today. Mm-mm. But whatever. All I gave this 4.5 stars. I really liked it.
Exactly what I put on mine was 4.5.
And
nope, I put 5. You're right.
It's just, I think what would have made it better, and there were a couple of lines of dialogue for Jordan. I don't know if they had someone who could imitate him, or if it was him.
Maybe I don't know what was the mindset behind that. I'd like to think that it was, we're not making this about Jordan. We're making this about the family and the shoe, which I thought was great. And this is also one of the ones where I was telling Jamie last night too. I read somewhere, and I could look, but I didn't think to find it, that Dolores signed off on this project. She said, "But I get to pick who plays me, and if she doesn't do it, then you can't do it." And she picked Viola Davis, and of course Viola did it, which I thought was really cool. If you got someone to play you and you get the chance to say it, and it happened. I thought this was really, really, really well done. I really enjoyed this movie. Obviously, this is my second week giving a movie a 5 out of 5 back to back. And the speech in the boardroom was probably my favorite, because he was Vaccaro was given the whole speech of, you could be the greatest in the world, but you're just a person till you step into the shoe kind of thing. But as he was giving the speech, it was throwing like 2-second clips of Jordan's actual career and all the things he was doing. I was like, oh, this is getting me. And then it goes right back to reality, and it was, hey, play the video. We got a video. We're gonna play it. And it was, I thought that was really cool. Seeing all the music from that year. Like, they were very authentic to everything about this. Yeah. And I thought it was cool that Vaccaro said that, I'm sure a lot of this was real. A lot of this was put into the film. But him sitting there in the back of the North Carolina talking to his mom, he said, "Let me tell you how each of these meetings are going to go down with Converse and Adidas." And nailed it. And like, you could see her looking and asking those questions. And that's what ultimately gets that bet that makes them do it. And I just thought it was really good. And I like these kind of documentary movies types that are, it's like the same thing with The Crown right now. It's a docu-series based on true events, but obviously you got to put drama in there to make it television movie worthy. And I could watch a lot of shows like this and a lot of movies like this just because it was cool. And I did like, that's what I like to believe, that it was more so about the family and Nike than it was so much about Jordan. Yeah. And we all know Jordan's great. We all know he became great, but what made this shoe deal? Right. And I thought it was funny right there at the end too, because I didn't realize this. I'm not big into any of this kind of stuff. That Nike bought Converse out in 2002. I was like, okay, that's funny. One of the big competitors.
I just think, because they did have someone playing Michael Jordan in the movie, but you see him like over his shoulder.
Yeah, and always from the back.
How would you like to get the call one day that, hey, you've been cast as Michael Jordan in the Air movie? Mm-hmm. And he had, the actor that played him, as far as I know, had no lines of dialogue. Mm-mm. He just sat there.
And you could tell he's getting frustrated in some of the meetings, at some points in the meetings and stuff like that.
But he's not really seen. Mm-mm. Like, he can't go, "That's me" on screen. Yeah. And people look at him and go, "Yeah, that is you," because you never see his face.
He still got that money though.
He did. I mean, it's got to be disappointing, right?
This film's going to have to be up for like Oscars or something, right? Like,
I would think so.
I mean, every time I watch a movie now, I think to myself, okay, is this going to be like one of those Oscar movies? Is this going to be one? But I would think it'd have to be. Like, I mean, it's great. Like, this is a wonderful movie.
It is. It's really good. I love the process. I love, they talk about the NBA had a rule where, like, 51% of the shoe had to be white or something like that. And so the other companies were going to have to work around that. Mm-hmm. And Nike's like, no, this is the shoe that we made. It's mainly
more red.
It has more red. You're going to get fined $5,000 a game. We're going to pay your fine.
Very good scene where Ben Affleck's how we're gonna okay, yeah, we are doing that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the fact that he was expecting 3 million in sales. He's
Mhm.
like, tops 3 million, 162.
And honestly, it made the Nike company what it is today.
Yeah,
And that's just something that blows my mind. Like because they even had Bruce Jenner. They talked about it in there, and
and
with him with the
he was.
Olympic running shoe,
Uh-huh.
and like it was cool seeing the background of a lot of these set pieces that had the old shoes and stuff in there. I loved the shoe when they were talking about making it. They're like, we're fitting it this way. This is how he likes to play. And then Vaccaro doing like his, because he was known as like the basketball guru, and him seeing stuff that other people didn't see, and the coach's reaction and stuff like that. I was like, which is like, and honestly, how his life was, because you can't just make that kind of stuff up.
Right.
I'm just like, this is crazy that people are like that, and I feel like this is a great movie to see, and even like with the most recent history they put in there of the college athletes. This guy was very active and very much a part of getting the college players' likenesses and things like that had to be monetized. And he was one of the big people to get that going. So I thought it was kind of cool. Really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, another aspect of it I liked is they had that $250,000 budget.
Mm-hmm.
And before Sonny really starts pushing for Jordan, uh, they're going over all the names of the guys, right? So like
Yeah.
it's like, well, John Stockton, you
All
know.
all names that people know,
Yeah. They're like, well, what about this guy? What about Stockton? He's like, do you even know where Gonzaga is?
Right, which everybody does now because they're like one of the top basketball schools in the nation.
It,
Just stuff like that's so great to me.
yeah. So it's definitely fun. It's a fun film to watch.
Highly
I think
recommend
it.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. 4 out of 5. You gave it 5.
Mm-hmm.
We
That's
need
back to
to.
back, baby.
We need to throw. We do have a website. We need to throw our ratings for everything on the website,
Mm,
and then like rank our stuff
I've
so that we
got
can.
so at the beginning of this year, I've got all of our
Yeah.
scores and everything. So from the beginning of this year, so just kind of
Yeah.
keep up with it a little bit.
All right. So next week. Next week we're starting it.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting it
It's
next week.
finally time.
This is gonna be fun. It's gonna be a little bit slow over the next few weeks. I don't know if we double up some, we'll be able to get these done before Halloween season.
Yeah.
Um, but we're gonna do a chronological timeline review for the MCU
Mm-hmm.
because
Now,
we've got a.
let me ask you this: do we stop doing it? This might be something for off the air, but do we catch up to when we started doing the Nerdwide podcast?
I think we run through by the time we get to the end, the Guardians movie will be on physical media. I think we just go all the way up to that point, and we're ready for the Marvels.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not going to hurt to rewatch.
No.
Well, there's a couple that might hurt to rewatch, but
But you know.
we'll do it anyway.
Yeah,
We'll
do
do
it
it
for
for the
you
people.
guys.
Um, but yeah, so next week, Captain. Well, not next week, right? We're off
Mhm.
next week.
Next episode.
Next episode, Captain America, the First Avenger.
Hmm. First time in a long time. I'd say like 4 or 5 years for me.
Yeah, it's been
Minimum.
maybe a touch longer than that for
Yeah.
me. It's going to be fun to go back and watch, though.
Hmm.
That very interesting CGI that makes him look like this skinny little dude.
Yes, until he gets big and buff. Like he was the very first one I think that had the Marvel effect as far as weight and
Yeah.
being extremely just jacked out of his mind. So
Yeah. No notable news this week for the film world, but we do have one release, May 19th, in cinemas, if this is your thing. Fast X.
love it. I need to
Jason
watch it.
Momoa starring Fast X.
Brie Larson and this one too. Oh, I want to see it in theaters. I need to catch up though. Games, Chris. I know you worked a lot of overtime. Did you get any chance to play anything?
Nothing beyond the ordinary. No.
Listen, I'm playing a lot of, since Friday, Legend of Zelda. There it is. It's popped up right there.
Oh, it popped up.
Boom. Playing a lot of it.
Watch it.
I'm enjoying it so much so far. Want to play a lot more, but can't because of work, and obviously it just came out Friday. Then Destiny.
Just call out of work.
Some. Yeah, I wish. God, I wish. Although I might work from home on Tuesday, so we might see. So, nothing big newsworthy. Again, this is a big thing that came out. Everyone's been waiting for Legend of Zelda. Game of the Year contender. Got a bunch of 10s across the board. Almost perfect score on Metacritic and OpenCritic. Other than that, nothing crazy. And then no more new releases for the next 2 weeks. Lego 2K Drive on everything May 19th. It is a racing game, but it's all Lego, and it looks really good. If it comes on Game Pass, I'm playing it, so we'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, that has been this week's episode of the Nerdwide Podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And don't forget to share on all your favorite social media platforms. And forget to rate and review us, whatever podcasting service you use. We are taking a 2-week break, but we will be back with Captain America and our 2 shows, Gotham Knights and Superman and Lois. Hopefully we can see what Superman and Lois does after this episode. Sick of social media, you can follow Nerdwide at nerd_wide on Twitter. You can follow me personally at Ty_Haynes and Chris at MavTN7. Facebook.com, search in Nerdwide, Nerdwide Podcast, Nerdwide.com. All 3 of those are the first things that pop up. Like us on either one of those 2. And that's how you get your news from us throughout the weeks, unless it's an episode we'll talk about. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been this week's episode of the Nerdwide Podcast, and we cannot wait to share with you our thoughts in the next 2 weeks of everything that's happened. So we'll see you then.
Later, guys.